Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 242.
Yeah.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is circling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect. But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy do, Who fans. Welcome to episode 242. I hope you're all well. You've all had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Yes. Glad you remembered what. I suddenly realised as we kicked off, I was like, you're like episode 242. I'm like, oh yeah. Because we normally check the number before we start, don't we? And I was thinking, I haven't got a clue what number we're on at the minute.
Yeah, I'm organised, mate.
Yeah, you are. You're with it today.
For once.
You're on the ball.
On the ball indeed, yeah. So, yes, welcome back. It's great to be back to our usual schedule. Thank you so much for all of you that have come back after our break and listened to our episode last week where we crashed through our review of Arc of Infinity and the antimatter Omega. All good stuff. Coming up in today's show, we're very light on news and merch. There's no decent news to speak of. Still very, very quiet from the BBC, from Chibbers and all that stuff. We've got a couple of bits of merch to go through, and then we're on to our review of our Torchwood story for this week. Before we crack on, remember to subscribe to our show in whatever podcast app you listen to. Those of you that have updated your Macs recently will notice that iTunes is now no more. They've separated it out into a dedicated Apple Podcasts app, which is very cool. So if you use that, just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcast and give us a subscribe on there. And thank you so much to some recent reviews on Apple Podcasts as well. You guys are so lovely with your words and reviews on there. So thank you so much for that. And remember to follow us on the socials as well. So Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Just do a search of the Big Blue Box podcast. You'll find us on there where we chat Doctor Who each and every week. How have you been, my good man?
I've been very good. Yeah, I've been good, thank you. Been a bit light on Who stuff this week, but I did manage to get the season 23 Blu-ray set yesterday, which was just lovely. Yeah. I'll tell you what, the best bit, or my favourite bit, was when I got home and put it next to the other sets. There was something really satisfying about adding Colin to the lineup of, you know, the Doctors we've got so far. And what?
There is a slight kerfuffle.
Oh no!
With the season 23 box set, somebody pointed out on Twitter the other night. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, not about the spine.
The print grade is slightly different to the others.
Oh.
So all of the other, I think the first four of them. Is it four? Is this the fifth one?
Can see them from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth.
Yeah. So the other four They're all exactly the same, but the season 23, there's a slightly, I don't know if they've changed printers or they've changed the color grade, but it's a slightly darker shade of grey.
Oh, send it back.
So once again, the BBC they can't get consistency correct across any of their spines. If you look across, Adam and I have got about 50. That's not including the classic DVDs, but about 50 of anything from 2005 onwards. So all of that stuff in Blu-rays, DVDs, box sets, steelbooks, all of it. They can never get the spines consistent with anything. It's either the logo's in a different place or the font's different or the colour's different. For God's sake.
Could it be intentional, though? Could it be that the range will, or maybe they'll have to do that now. Now they've noticed, like, oh, for good. Lee, could you just...
Have a word, Lee.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, now this might actually drive you mad because this is doing my OCD, and this really isn't a big deal, but I thought you were going to say, so someone else has spotted something about the spine on Twitter, which kind of did bug me, but only in an OCD way. Like, it's not a big deal. But so when you've got them all spine on, the picture of the doctors, what Lee's binding the artist has done is he's put like what you would call the clean version of that photo on the spine. So in other words, he's taken away all the aliens that are on the front cover. So it's just the doctor with the background. Now, if you look at Collins, he's still got the aliens on it. So you've got all the clean versions of the spines, and then you get to Collins and it's not the clean version. And I fear that may be a mistake. And it really isn't a big deal, but you know how once these things are spotted, you can't like not notice it. And when I lined them up yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, it should be just Collins, but it's still got the monsters. But I thought that's what you were going to say. Was Lee Bindings in one of the chats I'm in, and I did ask him if it was a fault or was it just meant to be like that, or what was the deal. But unfortunately, I didn't get a response. But I noticed yesterday he did ask someone to send him a picture of the spine. So maybe he's like, what? I don't know. Don't know what's going on with that. But
that's bad. They're not going to recall them though. They're too expensive to make.
They're not going to. I think it would just be an odd thing. And it really is one of those things that, you know, you can hardly tell, but it's just when you know, it's like, oh yeah. Anyway, but it's such a lovely set. Let's not be about it. It is a beautiful set.
It is. And the thing is that picture in all the promotional material, that picture on the spine hasn't got all of the characters in front of him. All it's got is a few of those little kind of little light fractions, refraction little things, and the little light stuff. So in the promo stuff, which I assume is the material that Lee sent over so that they could start marketing it, that hasn't got that there. So it's definitely a boo-boo post Lee Binding stuff, I believe.
Yeah, I would imagine he sent it to him and they've just used the wrong one on the spine. I imagine. I don't know. Who knows?
Interns again.
Yeah. Did you get yours, though? You got yours from Zoom, right?
I did. There was no drama this time, and it came on Saturday morning. Lovely.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get theirs on the Saturday before, and if they order from Zoom, they are really good like that. So that's cool. So you've got yours. Have you had a chance to watch any yet?
Of course not. No,
really?
No, I normally, with those box sets, I normally they don't normally arrive. Actually, that's a good point. For me, they don't. I've ordered mine from Zoom the last, apart from the first one, which I got from Amazon. All the others I've got from Zoom. Mm-hmm. And I don't normally get mine on the weekend, actually. At my old address, anyway, they used to come on the Monday. And because I've got work and whatnot, I don't usually watch that stuff until the following weekend. But even though this came on the Saturday, I've had a busy weekend, so I haven't had a chance to watch it. But I assume you've dived into some of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got back about sort of 9-10 o'clock last night by the time I got home, and I would just had to I've got to watch some of it before I go to bed. I just got to watch some of it. So yeah, I managed to watch 2 of the extra features last night from this one. So I watched the Behind the Sofa. That's generally the first one I put on. I really enjoy those, and that's great. It's got Fraser Hines on one of the sofas. He's brilliant. I love Fraser. And I watched, I forget what it was called, Dinner with the Doctor or something like that. So basically,
The Doctor's Table.
Yeah. That's it. That was really fun. Basically, Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Bonnie Langford, and Michael Jaston all go to the Ivy for dinner and just sit round, and they have these 4 TARDIS jars on the table full of questions, and they just sit there eating and getting drunk on champagne and answer these questions. They like pull a question out of the tin and answer them, and It was surprisingly heartfelt as well. So it's funny, obviously. A lot of the answers are funny, and Colin's really entertaining in it. Well, they all are. And there's a great rapport between him and Michael Jaston. They're clearly very good friends. They've got that typical sort of insulting each other, in a very sort of humorous way. It was really good. A lovely extra, actually. So they're the only two I've got to watch so far, and both brilliant. So I'm going to be kicking off the rest of the set this afternoon, hopefully. There's loads of nice new features. The one I'm looking forward to is the writers' table. Is that what it's called? The one where they get all the previous writers like Eric Saywood, Christopher Bidmead. I forget who else is on there. They've got them all round.
Phil
they
Martin.
Get them in a pub. Yeah.
That's called the Writers' Room.
Writers' Room. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that because I really enjoyed the one on the season 18. I think it was with Christopher Bidmead.
Oh yeah,
because he's quite overpowering, isn't he? But I like him. He's interesting, but he tends to sort of take over. And I think him and Eric together could be quite interesting. So. Looking forward to watching that. But yeah, that's all I've got to watch so far is those two. But really, just such a beautiful set. I adore these sets, mate. I tell you, I think they're my favourite thing that we have. I just love them. I think when I look at my shelf, those are the things that I just think if I had to lose everything, but I could only keep sort of one thing, I think it'd have to be those. They're just beautiful.
They are, yeah. Interesting change up for this one as well. So on each of these box sets, I think all of them, we've had this thing where Matthew Sweet interviews the Doctor, and it's called In Conversation With.
Yes.
It's no interview with Colin Baker on this one, though. So his interview is with Bonnie Langford, which is interesting.
Yeah, initially I was like, oh, why is that then? And then someone said, oh, maybe it's because they'll save that interview for his first season. I thought, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, actually.
Yeah,
but
true.
I must admit, I was looking forward to hearing him in conversation with Matthew Sweet, because I know Colin's got a lot to say about this being his last series, and obviously all the stuff that went on with him being axed and not doing it. So I think he's got a lot to get off his chest. And I was thinking, the person that'll be good at getting Colin to sort of focus all those feelings would be Matthew Sweet, because he's really been great on the previous ones, I think. But maybe they're saving it for his first season. I hope so. Anyway, I really want to see an interview between those two.
Yes. Someone said that the intro is different as well. There's been some people saying that there's a newer version of the new title sequence.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So this is on. So they've done a couple of new versions of the episodes. I think they're like edited, or they might even be extended. I can't remember now. Or both. And I think one or some of them have got this new intro that they've done.
Yeah, with new effects and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't got to that bit yet. But from what I hear, it's really nice. I think I know what it might be. Because I saw someone tweet something the other day about, I think his name's Rob Ritchie or something like that. He's involved in these things. And he said, I can't believe, who would have thought 5 years later I would have finally finished this intro or something. And then he put hashtag season 23. So I think maybe somebody's been working on this for a while and it's finally out there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm thinking though, mate, what is the set you'd like to see next?
Well, obviously extremely hyped for season 26, which is coming out next week.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Is it December or next month? I can't remember.
December. It's December the 23rd, which is a mad, crazy date, BBC. What are you playing at?
That is nuts, yeah. Can't wait for that. I think after that, I'm hoping they're going to take a stab at an earlier Doctor now. It would be really cool to see a Hartnell set. Obviously, the obvious challenge is all the missing stuff. So I know that they're limited with that stuff. But I would like to see, a Hartnell set somehow. Maybe they're not going to do it as seasons because him and Trout and stuff, there's just a large bunch of it that's missing. But maybe they could do like the Hartnell collection or something that's got all of the existing stuff on there. So instead of having like season 1, 2 and 3, maybe try that. But other than that, I think I'd also like to see another Pertwee set. What about you?
Yeah, I've got to say the next one. So I'd like to see. I'd like all the McCoys. Obviously, want all McCoy stuff out. Would be fantastic. Yep. I'd really like to see Tom's season 13. with Terror Zygon. So it's a great season. But the one I really want to see, and I agree with you here, is a Hartnell. If only for the artwork. I just would love to see. I keep thinking this every time I look at all my sets. I would love to see a Hartnell one right at the front. Like, can imagine the artwork would be beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think they could do it. I know they're sort of trying to fill in gaps at the minute with animation ones and stuff. So I don't know how far off a sort of Hartnell or Troughton one is. Probably quite near, quite far off. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I'd love to see a Hartnell one. Love to see some more Tom. And I think almost certainly we'll get some more Pertwee, because out of all of them, I think the Pertwee one's the one that sold out the quickest, apart from season 12, obviously, which vanished before people could even know it was out. Yeah. So apart from season 12, I think the Pertwee set sold incredibly fast compared to the others. The others are sort of slowly sold out now, but the Pertwee one disappeared quick. So I'd be very surprised if they don't get another one out. It's just the source material that's not great for the Pertwee era. That's the only problem. Like, a lot of the source material is very low grade. I don't quite know how they're going to get around that with HD. But anyway, yeah, some more Pertwee. Just any of them, really.
Just any of them. Yeah.
Just any of them. But it does strike me that how quickly, it doesn't seem that long ago that we just had season 12. Mm-hmm. I remember when I got that thinking, this is lovely. And it was a bit of a trial for them, wasn't it, to see how it sold. And it obviously sold incredibly well, as we all know now, because no one can get it for less than £300. So I think, yeah, it's incredible to think we've now got 5 of the sets out already. So if they can continue at that rate or even more, it'd be good. I just want my whole shelf filling up next year of all these sets.
Yeah, I think that's the end goal. It must be.
Yeah. And then they'll do one massive £2,000 box set of the lot. Did you miss out on season 12? Fear not. You can get this £250 box set.
It'll be more than that, mate.
Sorry, £2,500 box set. Yeah.
Crazy money. Yeah.
Yeah.
They must be doing a long game anyways. Yeah, they are cool. And so, yeah, same as you, mate. Got some stuff to dive into with season 23, which is going to be good. Right, so, as we said, no news. So we should see what old Grumpy Pants is up to with merch.
Yeah.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
I work in a shop now, here to help.
There you go. What do you think about that? Viking helmet.
I'm loving Hartnell at the minute. I always love Hartnell, but I'm really just, I don't know. There's been a lot of gifs and things going around about him at the moment. It's just, I just love him. He's so funny. So grumpy.
Grumpy old fella.
What do we got then? What's old Dalek Tack got on his tray today?
25 by 175 centimetres, mate.
Right.
Of pure, brilliant 13th Doctor stripy scarf action.
Oh.
Levartzi, the cool dudes over there that produce many a very good official BBC Doctor Who merch.
I like these guys.
Yes. So hot off the heels of the recent laptop TARDIS back, they've now announced the 13th Doctor scarf, which is not out just yet, but actually, will it be out by the time you listen to this? The 11th of October.
Yeah. That is this Friday, yeah. So It will be. Release date.
Yes. So priced at $24.99 on the 11th of October, you can bag yourself a very fetching 13th Doctor scarf, which will clash brilliantly with all of the 13th Doctor stripy T-shirts out there. Yes, I'll be giving this one a wee miss, as you probably guessed. The 13th Doctor garbs and stuff. It's okay, the 13th Doctor's costume. I don't mind it, but it's not something that I potentially... actually, no, not potentially. It's not something that I would choose to wear. But it does look very appealing nonetheless. What about you? Because you did buy a 13th Doctor scarf that was pretty much there. It wasn't official, but it was kind of there,
yeah, it
wasn't it?
No, it was the Paul Smith one. I didn't get it online. Right. I was just near a place called Bicester Village, which is a bit of a hellhole. No, people love it, actually. I just say that because it's so busy every time I go there. I can't bear it. But it's just Bicester Village is just a place where all the what do they call them? The brands,
it's a designer outlet.
Designer outlet, that's it. So they get all last year's, products and sell them still expensive, but tell you that it's a good deal because they're half price. So I was there and I just saw it in the window of Paul Smith, and I was thinking, oh, there's the old 13th Doctor scarf, because of course it was there because it was last year's. They used one from a year ago. So I was like, oh well, I'll go and see how much it is, and it was actually it was like a Black Friday deal, so it was like 25 quid, I think, and I thought, oh, that's pretty good actually. And I'll be fair, I really do like that scarf. I've never worn it, of course, it's just gone straight in the cupboard, but I do but no, I do like the scarf,
of course.
So I bought it, but the thing is with this Allons-y one, and this is the thing, I made this mistake as well, and I think a lot of people are going to look at this and say, well, that looks nothing like the scarf she wore in whatever the Christmas episode was called with the Dalek.
That one.
That one, Resolution, wasn't it?
That's it.
That looks nothing like that one. And then I realised, because, I never really read the blurbs of these things, but I realised it's not meant to be that scarf. It's supposed to be the stripe on her T-shirt. So then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right, I can see that. It's not, because when I thought it was the Christmas scarf, I was like, well, it looks absolutely nothing like it. But it's not meant to be that one. It's just the stripe. I think in hand, I can imagine it's really soft. I think it'll be quite a nice little scarf, actually. I wouldn't mind it. And I think the price is decent. So, I don't know, might get one for Christmas, I think.
It's made from 100% high quality acrylic. So it's soft, warm, and lightweight.
I know that, joking aside, I know Allons-y stuff's always really nice quality. And I do look at the promo picture and I can tell it's going to be a really nice soft scarf. So I may get one for Christmas, but I can't see you wearing one. I just can't imagine you in this. It's just not your thing, is it?
It's not my cup of tea, no. I mean, Don't get me wrong. Like you, I appreciate the effort that's gone. It does look like a very comfy, soft scarf. I do.
Yeah.
I like the Allons-y stuff is always high quality, so that's all good. I'm just not, and like I said, I don't mind the 13th Doctor's costume and the stripy influence and stuff like that. It's just not something that I would particularly go for.
No, I get you. I hear you.
Yeah. Interesting thing that they've mentioned to go along with this, and I've never heard of this before. I don't know why. I don't know if it's new or I just never heard of it, but apparently Allons-y have a Doctor Who fan club. And if you sign up to that, all you need to do is just pop your email address in, and then you are part of the club. And if you do that, you get 15% off the scarf. Plus, you get access to it a day or two early, I believe. So, all you need to do is head over to, I think it's the Allons-y. If you go over to the Allons-y website itself, and then I think it's, whereabouts is it? Is it in the? I can't remember. There's something on their website. If you do, there's a search feature on the website. If you just do a search for the fan club, Doctor Who fan club, or if you just go to Google and just put Allons-y Doctor Who fan club, you'll find it on there. It's you just pop your email address in and you'll get 15% off, which is always nice.
Well, yeah. So that brings it down a bit, doesn't it, as well, actually? So, yeah, very nice. Yeah. Right, so moving on in other merch, Kawaii. We all love Kawaii, don't we, Gary?
Some of us do.
There's a time I would have been all over this, actually. There was a time. No,
Dude.
well, I'm bored of it.
Oh, you
no, so there's some more Kawaii stuff coming out from those guys at Titan, and I think regular listeners know that I do like the Titan stuff. I've got drawers full of their blimmin' figures. I do love the Titan figures. So they're releasing another variant of the 13th Doctor Kawaii figure. I think, I've got a couple of these. I mean, this is the thing, because I'm colorblind. I honestly can't tell the difference between this and the last one. I know it is different, but it just looks exactly the same to me. But this is the Kablam variant, so I'm guessing the T-shirt's different or something.
I can't comment. I'm not sure. I assume something's different.
I can't see color. I can't see colors that well. So anyway, it's basically the 3-inch Kawaii Kablam 13th Doctor Titan. Comes in a nice little box, so it's not a blind box. You can see the figure inside, and it was a NYCC exclusive. I always find this strange when we get all these exclusives, and then as soon as it's over, it's like, right, anybody can have them.
It kind of dilutes the word exclusive, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It happens a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so if you're into your kawaiis, this is coming out, and alongside it, there is going to be a standard sort of in the usual Titan sort of style. There's going to be a 3-inch Rosa variant of the 13th Doctor, again in a nice little box with a window so you can see it. I can see the difference in this. The t-shirt is a pinky color. Is it pink?
Purple now.
Purple.
Yeah.
So I can see that's the difference on that one. So if you're into your Titan variants and you love your 13th Doctor and you want to get these, they are now no longer exclusive to NYCC. They are available from Forbidden Planet. I think I'm just going to click on the link. I think they're about $7.99, something like that. Yeah, $7.99 each. So not too bad price wise, because sometimes they do bigger versions of these, don't they?
Yes, the 6-inch.
Like 6-inch,
yeah.
And they were exclusives to some other con, and they were like 20 quid when they come over it, and I was thinking, what? Mm-hmm. And they're all in the sale now. They obviously didn't sell because they have been in the Forbidden Planet sale for flipping ages, for like half the price at least. So yeah, it's good that the price has come down on these, even though they are the smaller version. So yeah, if the 13th Doctor is your bag and you like the Kawaii or Titan figures, go grab them, because they are limited, apparently. So
apparently, yeah.
Well, I know the last ones are supposed to be really limited, and they've still got them on the site. So I don't know.
You have to take the information that comes out of Titan, especially, with a very big pinch of salt, because they will say that. So in New York Comic Con, which is where these are coming from, which is finishing up or just finished, they will say, "Come and visit us at booth number whatever, because we've got these figures in very limited numbers. So if you don't come and check out the booth and pick one up, you'll be sorry." But then, like 1,000 retailers across the world over the next 6 months have got loads of stock, surprisingly. Yeah. So unless it's a true exclusive, and you can normally tell from the fan comments that are coming through on social media whether they're an actual decent rare exclusive pickup. You'll normally see lots of stuff over on the Doctor Who merchandise site. So the Doctor Who site.co.uk, they have a very good write-up, and there's lots of really good comments from fans who know what they're talking about, or just look at Twitter. So things like these, the Titan figures or the character-based stuff, pay no attention. Even if it says it's extremely exclusive and rare at these cons, you're guaranteed to pick it up. There'll be like 20 crushed boxes in the corner of Forbidden Planet in like 2025 still. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, I used to be all over these. So I still like the Titan stuff, but I'm more into the classic Doctor Who stuff at the minute. I'm not digging the 13th Doctor stuff at all. Like a lot of people, I think that's why they're all going into the sale, because they're just not selling. But I don't think they're going to be doing any other sort of classic Doctor Who's. From what I hear, it's all going to be new stuff. Because things have changed at Titan, apparently. So I don't know. I don't think I don't think the last classic set sold that well either. So bit of a shame, but good for my wallet though, because you know me, I can't resist a blind box.
There you go.
Yeah.
The old blind boxes.
Love them.
It's kind of cool though, when we meet up in London, we hit up Forbidden Planet before we go to the pub, and we've got 2 or 3 blind boxes to plough through.
I do. I just I love a blind box. A pub and a blind box is my
Adam's a cheap date, everybody. If you want Adam's a cheap date. Yeah. Just take him to FP and spend a tenner on some blind boxes.
I always
and take
say
him to
this.
the pub.
I always say this on my birthday. Like, my partner would be like, "Oh, I can't think of anything to get you." I'm like, "I am the cheapest blimmin' date ever. Just get me a blind box. I'll be really happy with that." Yeah.
Pop your email in here and get 15% off this bloody scarf and all.
Oh yeah, and that scarf.
That'll do. Oh, and this other thing that's coming up. Oh, and this thing I saw at the Who shop. Oh, and this thing that's coming up.
I bought a bag yesterday, like a shopping bag, in like a bag for life, and it said on the front, "And I only came in for one thing." I thought that was quite ironic for me.
Oh, that's Adam in a nutshell.
Yeah, I thought I must get that bag.
That's gonna wrap for news and merch. Thank you very much, Dalek Tat. Now get out. Like you bringing the mood down.
Yeah. He gave you a right old look then. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to get it.
Yeah, he's got that look that some cats give you. You only go around someone's house and they've got a cat and it's all friendly at first, but then it's sitting next to you and it just gives you that look like any minute now I'm going to rip the skin off of your face, mate.
You're going to get it.
He's got that look about him.
Yeah.
Anyways, review time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What we got this week?
Oh, a bit of Torchwood this week. I was quite excited. I don't remember anything about this episode from the first time round. And it's written by Noel Clarke of Doctor Who fame and adulthood fame and kidulthood fame and pensionhood fame and whatever else he's done. So, yes, this one's called Combat.
Out there, in the darkness, something is coming.
Somebody's not only kidnapping Weevils, they're causing them pain.
What can you feel? What do you know?
These guys are using Weevils to carry out the perfect murder.
You want to release a Weevil in the middle of Cardiff?
I've been having sex with someone else. His name's Owen.
Who are you, Owen Harper?
We're gonna hunt you down, and we're gonna make you surrender that creature that you kidnapped. Is that clear enough?
Ooh.
Some action for Torchwood.
Another good trailer.
Another one. So, Combat was first broadcast Christmas Eve.
Was it?
Christmas Eve back in 2006.
God, it's not very Christmassy, is it?
I was going to say, I didn't realise this was out on Christmas Eve.
No, I didn't.
Crikey. As Adam said, this was written by Noel Clarke. It was directed by Andy Goddard, and it stars the usual Torchwood hub people. A bit more of an appearance from Reese in this one, Kai Owen, and it's got the most wooden, solid, I can't believe I'm on television performance by Alex Hassel. It's just bloody brilliant, mate.
Alex Hassel.
And so a bit of synopsis on this one. Savage aliens, aka the Weevils, are being kidnapped off the streets of Cardiff.
Yeah.
All one of them. And Torchwood wants to know why. Owen is sent undercover to find out who's behind it and befriends the charismatic Mark Lynch. I'm going to just put myself on the line here and say that word is the last word that I would ever have chosen to describe that character. Charismatic.
Yeah.
Owen is sent, let's reword that. Owen is sent undercover to find out who's behind it and soon befriends the utterly boring Mark Lynch. Beneath the veneer of city life, Owen discovers a shocking subculture, but can he avoid being sucked in? So, Combat, what do you reckon, buddy?
Well, it's strange because, normally when I can't remember an episode, I'll put it on and then a few minutes into it, I'll be like, oh, yes, yeah, I remember this one now. This was like watching a fresh episode. I just didn't remember any of it from start to finish. It was like I'd never seen it before. And I think the reason for that is it's kind of forgettable. It's not bad. I mean, I kind of sat there and was fairly entertained, but I felt like it took a long time to get to the sort of crux of what the story was. And then when it did get there, it wrapped it up in like minutes. So I was thinking, oh, right. So I just felt very underwhelmed by the time it finished. It just didn't seem to go anywhere. It just was too slow to get to where it wanted to be. And I think I was quite excited when I saw it was written by Noel Clarke. I had sort of, maybe my expectations were a bit high. I thought, I don't remember Noel Clarke writing for Torchwood. I'm looking forward to this. And I just felt that there was a good sort of idea there, but it just wasn't utilised as well as it could have been. I mean, we get the Weevil in the cage at the end. Owen goes into it. I mean, Owen's the best thing in this for me. I think he sort of kept my interest throughout the whole episode because he's in he's in a bad mood, isn't he, Owen, in this one? He's not taking any nonsense. So for me, he's the best thing in it, and it kept me engaged because of him, really. As for Mark Lynch wandering around with his shirt open for the host, I'm like, what's going on here? I just didn't know where the episode was going at one point, especially when he goes in his torture room. I just thought, what the hell? So I don't know. I think we should have got to the sort of cage in the Weevil in the cage earlier. You could have had that thing escaping and a bit of a chase, and there could have been. I think it could have been utilised a lot better, this idea. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's a reasonable episode in series 1, and I'm judging that on what we've seen so far, because I don't think series 1's been. It's been patchy, series 1 so far. There's been some good stuff and there's been some not so good stuff. This, for me, kind of sits in the middle. It's okay, it's watchable, but it is a bit forgettable. I mean, it's not one I'll sort of go back to that often, really. There's nothing really there to make me want to put it on again anytime soon. Yeah. So even the stuff with Gwen and Reese, because I've been saying, haven't I, for ages how much I like Reese, and I don't like how the path that Gwen's character's taken down of sort of having affairs with everyone. And because I like Reese, I'm like, don't do that to Reese. So I thought even that was going somewhere in this one, and it goes nowhere because she just drugs him and he forgets it all. So I don't know. It didn't quite hit the spot for me. What about you, mate? What do you think of it?
Yeah, so when I finished watching this one, I thought to myself, if Torchwood were putting out individual episodes on DVD or Blu-ray, I would have put this on eBay, I think. Or just taken it down to the local charity shop.
Down to CEX.
Crikey. Like, Noel Clarke, if you're listening, which I know you have done from time to time.
I think he does.
I love you, mate. But I've got to say, this was like one of the worst things I've seen, I think.
Really? Oh, you didn't like it that much?
Crikey Moses.
Oh, wow. I didn't think it was that bad.
I was asleep 20 minutes in. I was asleep 20 minutes. I'm not joking there. I was literally, you know when you do that thing where you kind of long blink and then you're not even asleep for more than like 2 seconds, but you sort of wake yourself up with a startle.
Yeah.
So I'm like this.
Oh, no.
And then... yeah, literally, with like the remainder of the episode, I was like, this is just boring me to tears. It just doesn't move.
It took so long to get anywhere, didn't it? I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and like I said, Noel Clarke, we're big fans of Noel. We love him as Mickey. And just as a person, he's a really cool guy. We both met him at LFCC, didn't we, a year or so ago?
Yeah.
Really nice guy, knows his stuff. But with this one, I think he's really... what it seems to me is... that it commissioned him to write a story for Torchwood. Brilliant. Noel Clarke's going to write a story. It's the night before the script's due in. He's like, crap, I've not written anything yet. I've just watched Fight Club. That'll do.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is. We don't find out until right at the end of the episode that the reason that they've kidnapped the Weevil is because there's this underground culture within... It's ridiculous. This underground culture at Cardiff, supposedly, is all of these very wealthy, middle-aged white men who have got nothing better to do with their time. So seemingly all of these guys have no families, no wives, nothing. They're just very successful people with lots of money that are just bored and don't know what to do with it. So what they'll do is they'll throw themselves into a life or death cage match with an alien. Oh my God. Just as I'm describing it, it's ridiculous.
Come on, we've all done it.
So don't get me wrong. The whole essence of the world of Doctor Who and Torchwood is not meant to be based on realism. Of course it's not. But I'm just saying, when you describe the story of this one, it's just ridiculous, even within the realm of Doctor Who and Torchwood. And it just takes so long to bloody get anywhere. It's like right at the end, the last 10 minutes, if they would have just brought that forward and had the last half of the story about all the Fight Club culture and Owen getting drawn more and more into it and all that stuff and the rescue mission to get him out of it and stuff, it would have been really good. But yeah, honestly, mate, I was just, at the end of it, I thought, I'm glad we only do Torchwood once a month at this rate.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I was saying to my friend yesterday, my friend Ad, big tall lad, we were talking about the podcast, and I was saying to him like how, because I was like, I need to get back, because we'd gone and picked up our season 23 box sets, and I was like, went for a quick drink. I said, anyway, I need to get back, mate, because I've got to watch Torchwood for the podcast tomorrow, because I haven't watched it yet. And I was saying it's weird because I don't get that buzz. Like when I know we've got Sarah Jane coming up, I'm actually always excited. I think, I need to watch Sarah Jane tonight. With Torchwood, when we started doing these reviews, I was really excited to go back and rewatch them from the start, because I liked them when they went out on TV. I remember thinking, Torchwood is great. And I've realised that I don't get that same buzz. It's not aged as well as I thought. It's not. I think it will get better. I think maybe Series 2, I remember thinking this at the time, actually, Series 2 did improve. But yeah, like last night, I was sort of thinking, it wasn't like I was dreading putting it on or anything, but there wasn't that buzz of like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch Torchwood tonight. Like when we're doing Sarah Jane, I can't wait to actually watch it and see what it's like. But yeah, I don't know. Series 1 has been a lot patchier so far than I remembered. It's not aged as well as I thought at all.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that in their review when we've had listener reviews in, and coincidentally, this week we've had hardly any reviews in.
Oh, right.
For
okay.
Torchwood. Yeah, I think this is why, because a lot of people have said on other stories, they're like, season 1 is very hit and miss.
Yeah.
And they said, but don't worry, because season 2, and obviously we're going back, we've seen them all, so we know what's coming up. But they have got a very good point in that season 1 for Torchwood is very much it feels like a writer's experiment almost with a lot of these episodes, because some of them are pretty good, to be honest with you. We've rated a couple of them quite highly. Some of them really hit the mark. Others, in my opinion, this one especially, it just really just goes off in terms of television storytelling. There's nothing that grips you in some of these stories. There's nothing that keeps you invested in what's going on and some of the characters. So the two best bits for me on this one would be Owen. I think he had a good story with this one, and even though he's a bit more miserable than he normally is, I think that was good in the fact that they linked it to he's kind of heartbroken at the minute, isn't he? Because in the last story, he fell in love with Diane, and then she dumped him and flew off, and he's got
into another time zone. Yeah, as you do when you want to get away from someone. Yeah. So
it's kind of cool that they continue that forward. That the reason why he's grouchy and stuff is because he's normally a bit of a grumpy one at times anyway. But I like that performance in this one. He's quite grouchy for that very reason. And the other thing is the Reese and Gwen storyline. So at last, Reese just stood up to her.
Yeah,
and I love that, because he's tired of playing second fiddle to her work life and everything, because she's never there, never at home, working all hours of the day. And I loved it when he stood up and at the restaurant, and he's like, "Sit the F down." You can tell that it's all just boiled up, and it's finally come out of him. And but as usual, I mean, I'm really starting to dislike her again. I remember when I watched these previously, I was thinking she is such a beep in some of these episodes. So it's a little bit like, how Rose was with Mickey.
Yeah,
it's like that times 100 with Gwen. The way she treats Reese sometimes, and I love the fact that he stood up to her. And then that scene later on where she comes clean, and you think, oh, they're going to,
resolve.
When I first watched it, I was like, oh, great, they're going to turn this around. But no, she's just playing a little game with him, and she wants to make herself feel better rather than from making their relationship better.
Yeah, so, I really didn't like that bit, in terms of the character of Gwen. I thought, what a horrible, selfish thing to do. And I mean, I've got to put that down to the writing. I mean, they are really writing Gwen to be an absolute, like you said, beep, and it's a shame, because I think at the start of this, she's a really strong, great character, isn't she? She's a policewoman. She's getting stuck in. She's not going to be pushed to the side. She's, throws herself into Torchwood because she's determined to find out what's going on. And then slowly, as the series has gone on, she's like, suddenly we remember that really awkward scene with Jack where she's like, they're firing a gun together and almost getting it on. And it's like from there on, but then she's in a more cabinet with Owen, and it's like, what's going on? The writers have sort of turned her into this just selfish and it's a family podcast, so I won't say the word, but you all know what I mean. And then you've got this scene where she's like finally sort of trying to do the right thing, tell Owen, and not Owen, sorry, tell Kai. And because Kai's such a likable character as well, it makes it twice as worse. Like, he's just such a lovable character, isn't he? There's nothing, you can't say, oh, well, he is a bit of a whatever, can't blame her sort of thing, because he's just brilliant. And so she finally does confess to him, and then she's like, oh, it's all right, I've just drugged you. I just want to hear you say it. And it's horrible. I really thought, what a horrible thing to do in terms of the character.
Yeah.
And then she goes and starts crying, and I'm thinking, are we supposed to feel sorry for her at this point? Because there's that scene where she's just sat bawling her eyes out. I'm thinking, because that's straight after she's just drugged
Reese.
Kai.
Reese.
No, what's his name? We keep saying Kai.
Reese.
Kai Owen is the actor. Sorry, I always get them mixed up. Reese. So yeah, and I'm thinking, well, if we're supposed to feel sorry for her, we don't. I'm just thinking, well, this you brought it on yourself. I just think it's a shame, because I do like the character of Gwen, and I just don't like the way she's being written in series 1 at all, and particularly not in this particular episode. Really didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why some of the characters have been written this way, because it's a more adult show. What they're doing is they're like, well, this is real life. People have affairs.
Yeah.
People are like, it's not like Doctor Who, where it almost has a responsibility, Doctor Who, because a lot of young viewers watch it. It almost carries a sense of responsibility that it has to give out a good positive message a lot of the time. And that's great. But Torchwood doesn't need to tread that same path. So Torchwood can highlight, things like, this is adulting. This is what happens in real life sometimes.
Yeah,
people are beeps to each other. People do beep things, and, beeps happen. So you can see that from a more adult perspective, they're just being more real about life. But what's not great, like you said, is that it just removes that that connection you have with a character like that, because on one hand, you've got her being a real beep to Reese. And like I said, she's doing it because she wants to make herself feel better, not because she wants to help him or their relationship. And then that scene afterwards where she's in the hub and she doesn't want to spend any time with Reese. She wants to just go to work and spend time with people there. And you've got this other little thing as well with Jack. He's trying to force her to spend time at home. He keeps saying to her, like, what are you doing here? I told you to go. And his thing is like, he wants the people at Torchwood to maintain a healthy personal life. That's his thing. But that doesn't mean anything. This is another thing that Noel, we love you, but come on, mate. So there's a bit where Jack's, throughout the entire episode, Jack's like, you need to make sure things are working at home. You need to make sure that that's all good. But then when he's chasing down the Weevil, he sees Gwen in the restaurant. He's more than happy to just pull her out of the date. She's having a date with Reese, and he's been telling her, go and make sure everything's all right. Don't be at work, be at home, be happy. And then he's in the middle of a work thing, and he's like, oh, I'm stealing her now, by the way. And then Reese actually explicitly says, you said tonight you were off, it was our night, this was our thing. And then you've got Jack, who on one hand is saying, go and do that with your better half. And on the other hand, he's like, oh, I'm stealing her now, by the way. She probably won't be home tonight, but you're just going to have to deal with that, mate. And you can completely see why he's beeped off.
Yeah. Completely. And also, I didn't realise, because I think doesn't Gwen introduce Jack to Owen? And I'm thinking, so we're on episode, what is it, of series 1? We're near the end of series 1 now, finally. I'm thinking, Owen and Jack have, like, that's their first meet in that brief, oh, this is Jack, by the way. And he's like, yeah, come on, we got to go. And, it seemed a bit clunky, didn't it?
Yeah. And that's just another little thing that, because we're on episode 11 of 13. So fortunately, we're coming to the end of season 1. But it's just another sort of a bit of salt being rubbed in the wound, because here comes this guy, and that's kind of the vibe with John Barrowman, isn't he? He's a very good looking, typical hunky kind of guy. So that's another bit of salt rubbed in the wound. It's like, by the way, this very good looking hunky guy who I work with, I know you've never met him before, but here's Jack, and I'm going to go off and spend the night with him working now, by the way. So enjoy your steak, and I'll probably see you some point later next week.
Why would you be annoyed? I know, it's just like, yeah, it is. It's just another kick in the shins for poor old Reese.
Yeah. Let's look at some balance, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some good stuff. Like I said, I really liked Owen in this one. I think
he's good. The
kind of troubled, moody gunslinger kind of vibe that he's got in the bar, because he's
I did like that bit, actually. Yeah.
And he doesn't take any nonsense. The guy, he's having a nice chat with the barmaid, and that guy's got the ump because she's talking to the punters, and Owen's got no patience. He just stands up, gives him a slap, and carries on with his drink. And so I like his performance. Normally I find him a bit OTT with the grumpiness and the insults and stuff, but I think in this one it was kind of cool because he's got that I'm miffed off because I've been dumped and I'm miserable, so nobody annoy me sort of vibe. It's cool. Yeah, we'll come on to his interactions with Mark Lynch in just a few minutes, I suppose. But I did like that part of the story, even though it's a grumpy, negative sort of vibe. I did like it.
I did. I thought because it follows on from what happened in the previous one, where that girl got in a plane and flew off and left him. So it's good to pick up the ramifications rather than just moving on as if nothing's happened. And I thought Bern Gorman played it really well, actually. I know what you mean. Sometimes he's just a bit too OTT with the sort of cockiness and stuff. But in this one, I felt like maybe because the rest of it wasn't so good, I felt like he sort of brought the episode up a little bit, because I was quite liking his taking no nonsense. I do like the scene in the bar because you could see it coming that that guy was just in a bad mood, and you've decided to pick on him. Big mistake. Yeah. So I liked that bit. And I thought at the end it was good, but they did kind of almost portray him as suicidal at the end, which I thought was taking it perhaps a step too far in terms of, yeah, I get he's a bit down in the dumps, but I don't think he was quite at that. It seemed a bit extreme, when he goes in with the Weevil and he's quite prepared to be killed. And I thought, yeah, it's one thing being a bit down because you've been dumped. I don't think it would push him quite to those levels. But, I suppose it had to be there to give the ending a bit of impact, because let's face it, nothing much else had happened in this story, really. So, but yeah, I thought he was good this week. I really did. I did like his performance, because sometimes, like you, I get a bit annoyed with him. Sometimes he's a bit cocky, and I don't like the fact he, messing around with Gwen and all that stuff. I just think, no, we don't need any of that. So, yeah, I thought he was good this week. Burn.
Jellied eels, though. If you could
see, that was quite funny.
Stereotype. I mean, it was funny, yeah. But if you could tell that as a Southerner, I suppose, aka anyone. This is funny. Anyone outside of England, if you're a Southerner, that equals London, right? So he's from London, obviously, just because he's from the south of England. And what's the thing that you associate old Cockney Londoners with? It's got to be bloody jellied eels, isn't it?
Jellied eels.
So he wants to set up a factory in Cardiff, importing from London jellied eels to sell them in. Oh my God. So I found that, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's a negative. I actually found that really funny that they, it could have been anything, but because he was supposedly a Londoner, it could have been chimney sweeping, couldn't it? Or
that would have been funny.
Right, Mark Lynch. Let's talk about
Come on, let's get on to Mark Lynch as the brilliant. What was the character called?
Oh no, the character's Mark Lynch.
The character's Mark Lynch. Yeah.
Alex Hassel. Yeah. So what else has Alex Hassel been in? I recognise him from something else, but
it's so weird you say that, because I thought exactly the same thing, and yet when I looked at the Wikipedia earlier, I couldn't see anything familiar, but as soon as he appeared on screen, I thought, seen him before.
Yes, I've seen him twice, actually. Now that I've just looked down the list of his credits, I remember him being quite a funny character in one of the episodes of Miranda. He played this this kind of supposedly good-looking chef guy with a really high, squeaky voice, I think it was. But also, there's a really
I must dig that out on YouTube.
There's a really good episode, a really good show that went out on Amazon Prime a few months back called The Boys, and he's in that. So that's where because I'd only seen that recently last month, so I recognise him from that. But his performance in combat, I've got to say, is very bizarre, because I think what they're trying to portray here is this very very smart, educated, wealthy person, but can also throw down and dish out some slaps when necessary. And we do get to see that when he's in the bar with Owen.
Yeah.
Because so the business deal kind of goes a bit south. And it's just Owen trying to log into his laptop and get all the information. But Mark is like, let's meet up at the bar later. Go for a drink.
Like you do when you go to a estate agent. So fancy a drink? Oh, yeah, why not? I'll just take my shirt off and let's have a drink. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. He kind of sees in Owen the kind of prospect that is perfect for his fight club, I suppose. So he's like, come out for a drink and we'll have a talk about some other stuff that you might be interested in. And anyway, it turns into a little bit of a... So there's a bit of a ruckus and Mark jumps in and helps him out, obviously. And then we go back to Mark's place. And it's the most bizarre thing that you've seen in a long time, because it's not your traditional apartment for a single bachelor guy with plenty of money, you know. And it's weird because, like you said, he kind of walks around with his shirt undone for a little while.
Yeah,
for absolutely no reason.
No reason at all.
Yeah. And then Owen finds upstairs this big gothic-looking door with the massive padlock that he unpicks in complete silence, obviously, that he can't
seconds.
And it's all quite bizarre. And that's where the Weevle's being hidden. This character's got him chained up in this dungeon-style weapons room thing. And so it's kind of bizarre. But the thing is, I just think that Alex Hassel's performance is quite strange, because he just looks very starry-eyed and gormless for a large portion of the time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really engage. I think his speech is just very slow and very laboured, not intentionally, but he doesn't have that kind of quick-witted, entrepreneurial, educated kind of thing that you were looking for from this type of character. He's very like, oh, I heard that you were looking for a warehouse maybe to kind of, get these jellied eels out the door. So,
God, it was like he was in there. If I closed my eyes then, I could have been watching the episode.
Who are you? Who are you? Owen Harper? So when I was watching the scenes with him I'm looking down at my watch thinking, come on, mate, wrap this up. This is like a 15-minute conversation. It could have happened in 3 minutes. Come on, mate. So, yeah, I have to say that it was a low point, the Alex Hassel's performance.
It's odd, isn't it? Because I couldn't work out where they were going with it. Like I said, I keep joking about the fact he takes his shirt off, and because I'm thinking that, like you said, it's so random. I thought, okay, is this guy trying to seduce Owen? And Owen's not picking up on it. Yeah, because he's like, do you want to go for a drink? And then he's wandering around topless, and then he puts the shirt on, but he just doesn't do it up, so he's still like half dressed, and then Owen's picking that lock, and I just like I was just like, this character, Mark Lynch, like, he's supposed to be an estate agent or whatever. He seems to immediately pick up that there's something dodgy about Owen. I mean, when you go into estate agents, they don't normally Google you to check you who you say you are, do they? It was a very, again, I guess it's down to the writing. I'm, sorry, Noel. Hope you're still listening. But it's like, it is odd. It just didn't really, the way the character's written just didn't really make sense at all. And the performance is odd as well, which doesn't help. But maybe when Alex read it on the page, maybe he couldn't work out what was going on. I just don't know. But
it was weird, the insight that character has for no reason at all.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Like
why?
There was a scene where Tosh had set up the website for Jellied Eels Incorporated or whatever it was. No, it's someone's name, isn't it? A company, two people, I don't know. And anyway, so there's going through the motions where Tosh is like, right, now he's going to look at the website. Right, we've got the website set up. Now he's going to watch the video. And he watches the video.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get a phone call. And he does all that. And from that scene, it looks like everything's been set up completely legit. So he's got a website, he's got his team there in the video, he's talking about the eels, and then there's an actual telephone number and somebody actually answers, and you would never suspect that was a bogus company or anything. But then later on, he's like, oh, it was a nice touch, the website. I never... And you think, well, you've got no reason to suspect from that earlier scene that anything wasn't legit.
Oh,
Come on.
I'm starting to really love the character of Mark Lynch. I'm thinking Mark Lynch spin-off. It's weird. I really recognised him as well.
Yeah.
Like just like you, I was like, I'm sure, but I don't recognise any of those programs that are listed. But I've definitely seen him. He has got other work. I've definitely seen him in something.
Yeah.
But it's not Miranda, that's for sure. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Could be Hustle. He was in Hustle.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
It's a strange one.
A
couple of other quick character mentions then. We've spoken about Gwen, Eve Miles. I think the character Gwen is kind of not endearing, but the performance from Eve Miles is fairly consistent, I suppose.
I will say that acting-wise, I'm not faulting Eve Miles at all in her acting. She's doing exactly what it says on the script, but I just don't like the script. I don't like the way she's being written at all at the minute. Yeah. But performance-wise, she's really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yantor, again another small little.
Was he in it? Oh yes.
Very subtly. Yeah.
Oh, I say that there was quite a nice little scene with him and Jack in the hospital. Where they're sort of working it as a bit of a double act. I mean, that was short and sweet, but it's good to see him getting out of the hub and having something to do, I suppose.
Yeah.
But can't really go much on his performance. I don't even remember him saying anything, actually.
Yeah, short and sweet. I'm sure that the character Yanto comes into his own in season 2. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure he does as well. Because I remember liking Yanto. I think this is the other thing which is surprising me with the first series is a lot of the stuff that I remember liking hasn't happened yet in terms of character development. And I'm thinking a bit like with Reese. I thought Reese was in series 1 so much more than he has. He's hardly been in it at all. He's a real side character. He gets like 1 or 2 minutes in each episode, doesn't he? And that's it. And yet, in my memory, he was in it quite a lot. So I think I'm mixing series 2 up with series 1 a lot in my mind. And the same applies to Yanto, because he's really hardly been in it this series, has he? He sort of pops up now and again and mopes around a bit. Of course, Cyberwoman, was kind of his episode, if you like. But he's hardly in this one. Same with Tosh. I mean, she may as well have not been there, really. Yeah,
she has a couple of scenes, but nothing made. I think her two.
She does the website bit, but that's it, isn't it?
And then the other bit is when she's still a bit sort of moody with Gwen about Owen. Gwen's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean by that?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing. Don't worry." She's all moody, and then Gwen has to sort of drag it out of her that he had a thing for Diane in the previous story, and then Gwen and Owen have that little bit in the car, and he quite humorously he just storms off like, "I'm bored of this anyway." So
yeah.
What about Captain Jack then? Old Barrows, old Jazzans.
Old Jazzans. Yeah, I mean the word I would use is pretty standard for him. Barrowman. And not to say he was going through the motions of this, he was still good, but nothing outstanding from Jack. But then nothing outstanding in the script for him, really. He's just kind of there, holding it all together. Yeah, I
agree. I think John Barrowman was a little bit cheesy in this one. For me, there's a bit where he's on the phone to somebody and he's threatening them like,
"Oh yeah,
like, we're gonna chase you down, mate.
I'm gonna find you, and you're gonna know what it." Yeah, I must admit, I thought that was cheesy, cringy.
But I thought if you're on the other end of the phone, you would just crack up laughing, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, you would.
You'd be like, "Hold on a minute, I got this guy on the phone. He reckons he's coming over. Should we get the kettle on?" Yeah.
Mark Lynch, this guy wants a word with you. Imagine those two on the phone to each other. Oh my word!
Yeah, it was quite funny, that bit. And
do Mark and Jack on the phone to each other.
I'll be Jack. American.
I'll be Jack. I'm gonna hunt you down. I'm gonna find you. Torchwood are coming for your ass.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I dropped the phone there. Coming round, are you?
That's
Good
right.
luck with that,
I'm
mate.
Captain Jack, and I'm coming round. I'm gonna kick some butt.
Who's Captain Jack then?
You ain't hearing me, mister. I'm coming round. Torchwood are coming to find you.
Is it Monday today? If it's Monday, I'm not home. Come round tomorrow. I'll move the Weevil. Actually, he doesn't know what it's called, does he? Of course he doesn't.
I'll move the Weevil.
He thinks it's some kind of experiment. He doesn't even know it's an alien.
Oh, God.
Come round tomorrow. I'd have moved the alien. What are your fighting skills like?
Do you want to join my club?
We've got a secret club. I'm going to tell you the name, but it's secret. Right? You need £1,000 though. £1,000 to enter. That seems a bit weird as well, doesn't it? Like if you're going to be thrown into a cage match with an alien that could potentially kill you within a few seconds, you'd probably want more money for that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the idea is everyone pays £1,000 and whoever lasts the longest takes all the money.
But you, bearing in mind, you've probably had your throat ripped out before you can get to it.
Exactly. It's like winner stays on. But I don't know.
What crazy.
Oh, crazy.
So when you start thinking about the plot, it really does fall apart.
It does, mate, yeah. But, you know, we're not all about the negative stuff. There is some good things in here. There are a few good, a few little nuggets of goodness, which is saving grace for it, really. So, unless there's anything else, let's get to scores.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, mate. I don't think I've got anything else to say about it.
Rightio. It's me to go first, and I'm going in with a 3.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
A 3?
Yeah, man. 3.
Okay. Well, I am a slightly higher than you. I've gone for a 5.5.
Middle of the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I just didn't go over a 6, really, but I don't know. It's kind of middle of the road, but I thought, well, it's not that bad, so that's why I've added on the 5.5, but... Yeah, not one of my favourites. As I said, certainly not one I'm going to reach for too often. So, yeah, 5.5. It's just edged over the not bad territory to me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's below average for me, this one, I'm afraid. Yeah. I don't like giving out crappy scores, but I was just bored.
I think that might be the lowest Torchwood score so far, actually.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Anyways, we had a few reviews in.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I think this is partly my fault because I didn't put the social media stuff out until yesterday, or it could be that people are just not into this particular
one.
Torchwood. I don't know, but we had a few, and we had an audio clip in. Our usual reviewer from Down Under. This is Sammy Satine.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. Yes, your Australian accents were terrible, seeing as you brought it up, Adam. Speaking of terrible, combat. Not an episode of Torchwood I like. People using weevils for cage fights, it really doesn't appeal to me. There's no bad performances as such that I noticed, but maybe because I find the story sickening, I wasn't paying attention to the acting. I'm giving it 2 weevils out of 10 for being so sickening. I'm sure the next Arai review will be way better. See ya.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I got to agree with Sammy. It's quite, especially that scene when old Mark Lynch is punching out of the Weevil.
Oh yeah,
it's quite nasty.
It was.
Yeah, I kind of wanted Owen to step in and, you know. But anyway, yeah. So I agree, Sammy.
That was the other thing that confused me as well. Sorry, I know we're in reviews at the minute, but going back to Mark Lynch, his ending was a bit bizarre.
Yeah, I meant to say to you about that. Yeah, Jack almost relishes in seeing him kill it. You know, he's like, yeah, you got your comeuppance. But I was thinking that's weird because Jack hasn't even got to know him. I mean, we all know he's a bit of a plonker, but Jack doesn't know that. For all Jack knows, he's probably a really nice guy. I don't think Jack's not even met him at that point, I don't think.
Well,
but he's quite happy. But Jack's quite happy for him just to step in the cage and, you know, finish up the story, getting eaten and...
Time traveler's intuition for you.
He watches as well. He's sort of, oh yeah, I'm enjoying that. Yeah. But he's just sort of looking through the cage, like, yeah, he's getting mauled to bits there.
It seems bizarre that he would just sacrifice himself at the end. Like nothing, he hasn't gone too far down the rabbit hole that he can't sort of repair his life and sort his crap out. Why he has to just commit suicide almost and throw himself to the Weevil is quite weird.
I thought it was a naff ending. I thought it was just the kind of thing you do to, no offense to Noel again, but he's kind of got to in the script. So, right, I need to just finish this now. He's a bad guy. Let's kill him off. So he walks into the cage. That wraps up the story. All good. Do you know what I mean? That's how it felt. It was unnecessary, really.
I think what he was going for is, this is the guy that's had the Weevil chained up and has beaten him and been really nasty to him. So as his comeuppance, the Weevil's now going to have his revenge. But that kind of misses the mark, really. That's not really...
It did miss the mark. I could totally see what you mean. That's where he was going with it. But yeah, it didn't... I don't know. It was clunky. Didn't really add up.
No. Anyways, moving on. Over on Twitter, one of our writers, Joel? One of our writers, Jordan Shortman, says, I quite like this one. Noel Clarke manages to give everyone something to do. Owen joins a fight club. Yanto and Tosh go weevil hunting. Jack is Jack and Gwen gets to cry over pizza. Overall, this is a fairly decent episode. Nothing special, but pretty average.
Okay.
Okay. Cheers, Jordan. Luke, this is over on Facebook now. Luke Malloy. Wish I could contribute this week, guys, but I have no recollection of this one, apart from the fact that it has weevils in it. But I hope you enjoy.
Oh, well, I can appreciate why. Yeah, it's exactly how I felt before rewatching it.
Yes. And lastly, Andrew Cuthbert says, Noel Clarke wrote this one, and it shows very gritty, packed full of testosterone and masculinity, and a seedy criminal underworld. Loved every second. 9 Weevil wrestlers out of 10.
Oh, wow. It's good, though. I like, it's good to have a bit of balance. You know what I mean? So someone's got something out of it. That's cool.
Of course. Yeah. Nice one, Andrew. Glad you enjoyed that one, mate. And that's all the reviews we had for Combat.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. What are we doing next week, my good buddy?
So next week, we are back to New Who with the 11th Doctor. We're going to be reviewing the two-parter, The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood. So we'll be doing the two parts together as one review next week.
That's going to be cool because, like you, I don't think I've watched these ones since I first picked up the box set many moons ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched them since transmission.
Right.
Amazingly, I'm always intrigued when we get to an episode that I've only watched once, because it can mean one of two things really. It can either mean that I didn't like it, or that it was just a bit. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to going back to this one because I've literally watched it once. I can't really remember much about it at all. It's Silurians, isn't it?
That's it.
Yep. Yeah, Silurians. I seem to remember there's a crack in the wall at the end. That's literally all I can remember from it. So yeah, looking forward to going back to this one and just seeing why it's been on my shelf all these years unwatched. What's wrong with it, or what's good about it? Let's find out.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah, so get your DVDs or your Blu-rays or your Netflix fired up. Get those watched because we'll be asking for your thoughts on that next week. And I think we'll wrap there, dude, for 242.
Alrighty.
Thank you for sticking with us and listening to episode 242. Very light on news at the moment. Literally haven't got anything of substance to get our teeth into. We're not even, there's no rumours or leaks or anything.
No.
We don't do that stuff here on the podcast, but it would be nice to at least have something to talk about, even if we don't agree with it. It would be nice to, it's just very barren out there at the minute, but
Chibbers is really keeping everything close to his chest, isn't he? It's incredible. He's really got it under wraps.
Certainly has, yes. But we have got a couple of some merch bits that I know a lot of you will be interested in. I know a lot of our listeners do like the Kawaii, the Titans and stuff. And maybe the scarf, it's the Vartsy have nailed it on the time of year. Perfect time of year to put a scarf out there. So,
yeah.
Indeedy. So next week, The Hungry Earth and the Cold Blood, the 11th Doctor story. Get those watched and keep an eye on the socials. We'll stick a note out there asking for your reviews and so on. In the meantime, head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our shows plus read all of our articles over there. Also, check out the show on any podcast network that you currently listen to. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, all of that stuff. Just do a search for us and give us a sub so you don't miss a show when they land every Friday morning. And also check us out on the socials, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Give us a search and a like over there. Jump in. We've got a great community of listeners and followers over there. It's all good stuff. Chatting Doctor Who every week. Remember to check out my co-host's YouTube channel, The Geeks Handbag.
Yes, go and have a look at The Geeks Handbag. I'm working on a massive quest video at the minute.
Oh, nice.
It's huge. It's taken me forever. But, yeah, don't know when it'll be out. Probably next year.
Having said that, there's tons of really cool videos on Adam's channel, though. So go and check him out. And also, he's on the socials under the same name, The Geeks Handbag.
Indeed.
So do that, and as I said, jump in and have a chat about Who and all sorts during the week. Until next week for episode 243, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,